Jon Jones.
All right, let's get going.
Jon Jones.
All right, back at it, UFC 285 preview show. So we'll do a little bit of talking. I was just it was weird. I was just scanning. I know we talked about, let's talk about the main card, but
yeah.
That being said, I mean, there's some real notable fighters on the undercard for sure.
Definitely.
So
run through it.
Couple things I'm looking forward to. Ian Gary on the prelims, early prelims. Actually, that's surprising. Actually, right. So
such a stacked card though. That's why goes to show the
shows
level of this card,
the magnitude we're dealing with,
density
here.
of this card. This is a dense card.
It's a dense UFC card.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Ian Gary, so kind of the featured early prelim, but super excited to see him fight again. 10-0, fighting Song Keenan. I really don't know him too well, but.
Not too
excited to see Gary. I mean, I thought he would be at least on prelims, but I don't know. I mean,
yeah, he's
good fighter. I mean, just amazing performances in his last number of fights from what I remember. So
100% could be the next coming of Yul Connor.
You know what I was thinking?
Yeah.
Just I don't know if this interests you guys, but posting for everybody because I don't know with posting bets on Twitter and stuff. We should each drop $10 on like a crazy Or like we should set up a structure where we all have to follow it. Like you need 2 early prelim bets, 3 prelim bets, and
like
2 main card bets,
yeah.
and it's like $10, and it has to be like plus 1,000 or more or something like that, and we can see if we can get something to hit.
That'd be sweet. I'm
not follow what I bet because I'm the absolute worst at betting.
I did what you did, but then I also did the inverse because didn't you go 0-6 one time or something like that? Yeah. I went 0-6, but then I also went 6-0. And then the time I went 6-0, this kid on Twitter now hits me up every week on Twitter and is like, "Hey, what do you got on picks? What do you got?" And I'm like,
the free money bets.
I have to spend like a half hour going through, making sure I know what I'm saying.
I'm not kidding. I'll look at the bet. I'll look at the bets, and then I'll be. Lately, I've been thinking I'm going to bet the opposite of what I think because lately that's what's been happening. Like if I think Ian Gary's a huge favorite, but Ian Gary looks like minus 675, so that's a huge.
Yeah, that's huge.
But I mean,
it's crazy that like the early prelim Ian Gary and it's like Bo Nichols like first big fight they throw him on the main card.
First fight in the UFC.
Like not even the prelim.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They threw him right. And I understand he's a big name.
God, what are we doing?
But
yeah,
hey, that's the show we recorded earlier today.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting an early start.
Knock it off. Hey.
She's
all right. Sorry, dog.
She looked over like, huh?
She's like, "Hey, what?"
The dog is gnawing at herself.
What are you doing? Yeah, that's a good point though. Bo Nichols' first fight in the UFC is on the main card, and Ian Gary stuck early prelims. How many fights is? I mean, Ian Gary's probably had 3 or 4 fights in the UFC though.
Oh, I don't know about UFC.
Yeah,
it's 10-0.
Yeah.
I think he came in 7-0.
Did he? Okay, yeah.
Because he's like one of those guys where, like, I'll be the first to say like maybe you go 5 years ago, my UFC knowledge is like very very zero, and then you go into like. He came around when I started getting really into it and stuff, so I've seen his all 3 of his fights.
Yeah. Super excited for him. Love to see. I think he's pretty good on the mic too. So I'd like to see him have some entertaining call outs and things like that.
Yeah. So, I mean,
who's above?
Yeah, we're getting to that.
Yeah,
we're getting to that.
I didn't see that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We got to talk about a little bit.
I was
going to
say we got to talk about the undercard because this shit is pretty insane.
Yeah. So moving on, the next one I'm excited about is Derek Brunson and
Scroll down.
Dricus Duplessis. I'm not letting you see what's next.
I know because that one freaked me out. I said, no way.
That freaked me out.
It's on the roster.
I feel like Dricus just fought, didn't he?
Well, Dricus, just took care of
Darren Till.
Yeah, Darren Till.
And speaking of Darren Till, dropped from the UFC roster.
Oh shit!
I saw that last night.
Yeah.
Oh, I did
it's
not
crazy.
see that.
I feel like the UFC doesn't really like. I don't know how they would put it out that they're dropping people from the roster, but I always just see like a small tweet from that UFC roster watch, and it's always like I was like Darren Till, holy shit! You would think like the UFC would put something out, maybe I don't know.
I love the UFC roster watch Twitter because it's like the best. It's the only way really, like you're saying, to stay up to date on the roster,
right?
But also like you wouldn't think a guy like Darren Till, who's like, if once you're past the level of fight casual, you know exactly who the fuck Darren Till is.
Exactly.
You'd think just because people know who he is and he's kind of a bigger name in a sense, like trains with Kamzat and everything, that they wouldn't get rid of him.
Right.
But, they need slap fighters. So
they need slap fighters. They got to move some
Yeah,
money
it's
around
kind
on
of
the payroll.
surprising. Maybe that's a contract thing because sometimes they get dropped because their contract
It's got to be.
is
He's
over.
probably going to get re-signed.
Yeah.
And, it's going to – I think what's going to happen is, in all reality, I'm joking about slap fighting. If you remember what Dricus said, he said Darren's a good fighter, but he needs to go down. And the thing is like Darren's too big for like welterweight, too small for middleweight, and like there's like this whole thing where like he could be good, but they don't have a fight like a weight class that like really fits him or thrive.
Yeah, he's got like knee problems too. He's had a couple of bad injuries and whatnot too. So hopefully, he did, hopefully he can be able to come back.
I felt like in that last fight against Dricus, I mean, he looked, I don't know, he definitely didn't look good defending takedowns. Dricus took him down every time. That's what I remember from that fight. But and he got destroyed in the first round.
He showed how tough he was though, because I feel like just yesterday we were watching that clip, and I think I threw the phone over to you where he's like just showing the ref. He's like constantly like, "I'm good. Don't stop the fight. Don't stop the fight. Don't stop the fight." I think it was like Mark Goddard maybe.
Yeah.
It was. And he was like, "I'm good. I'm good." It's like, well, okay, you're good, but you got to stand up. You got to get out of there if you're good, because regardless, like the protecting shots to the head and longevity of your career is also important, right?
Yeah, so I'm excited for this fight, Derek Brunson. I'm excited to see Derek Brunson again, and Dricus coming off a big win. Brunson. But looking back at Brunson's last few fights, I mean, lost to Cannonier was his last fight last February, actually, so a year ago he hasn't fought. But before that, defeated Darren Till, defeated Kevin Holland, so two good wins there.
Yeah, and if you're gonna lose to somebody, Cannonier's no joke.
I was going to say Cannonier, he was just, contending for a title and things like that. So,
And Derek Brunson trains with, like, a serious crew. Like, I see him on Instagram all the time and Twitter. And
Brunson, baby.
I got some.
I like him a lot, and I think this is a really good matchup. I think it's a great matchup for Dricus. It's finally, like, I feel like he's getting somebody top 5 that, is finally going to move him up. What he wanted, and I think he deserves it. I mean.
Oh, after that Darren Till fight, too. I know it was Darren Till coming back and things like that, but he just, outclassed him. So,
and Dricus is actually a favorite, minus 225 favorite. So.
Do you think that's cool? Coming off a win, coming off a loss type beat?
Probably,
but that's a little surprising to me.
That's like that's when I feel like that could change leading up to the fight too, because I feel like all these numbers are subject to change up until the day
line moves and things like that, how bets come in and whatnot.
Oh, definitely. I think there's going to be money coming in on Brunson for sure.
For sure.
Plus 190.
Plus 190.
I was
a good bet.
Speaking of, like, if we are going to do a little parlay, like $10 fun parlay, $20 fun parlay, Brunson's going to be on there. Yeah. You got to have somewhere you're going to get your money. I mean, you don't know you're going to get your money back with him, because, I mean, I also like.
It's a good play.
I didn't know how much I liked Dricus after the Darren Till fight, because I wanted Darren Till to win, so I was biased. But then, like, after rewatching that fight and, like, his post-fight interviews and stuff, and who else did he fight that was
So, I was going to say, before that, Dricus...
John Tavares is pretty good.
Yeah, I forgot which fight it was. I think it was a Tavares fight, but after that fight, I thought that if you rewatch that fight, he looked super awkward. Like, Dricus looked really awkward in that fight. And I think that's what I'm remembering correctly, because coming into the Darren Till fight, I thought Till was going to win for sure.
Yeah.
But,
so did I.
But
that's
I mean,
what I'm saying. That's why I was like, dude, who the fuck is this guy? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a second, he's not bad. He kind of manhandled him.
Yeah.
No, he's
South African. Yeah,
that's also cool.
I mean, he showed up big, and 3-0 in his last 3 fights.
Till's got that tattoo though, dude.
Oh my god, on his what is it? His
it says like Giselle on his shoulder, and then he made it an ape.
Yeah, but it wasn't finished during the fight or something like that. It looked so bad.
Because you figure they probably can only train so much with a tattoo that's fresh, so they probably try to wait it out.
Yeah.
Get sweat all over it, get on the mat.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, that next fight on the thing is the one that I'm like, what the?
So feature prelim, Cody Garbrandt is fighting.
He's alive.
He's alive.
He's fighting Trevin Jones. Yeah. So don't know too much about Trevin Jones. I
was going to say,
looking at his fight history here, but
did he fight?
Looks like he's 0-3 in his last 3. So
they're kind of maybe they're giving old Cody maybe one that they think he can handle, think he can take care of.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that
this is probably his last shot, because that dude's who's his last fight? Barcelos.
Yeah.
I mean, his last win is when he knocked out a Sun Sao right there. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was the one where it was like at the bell, where like it was like boom, boom, and like he like just slept him clean. That was great. That was kind of like, I don't know, but then he lost bad to Rob Font.
Yeah, Rob Font lost to Kai Kara France, first round TKO and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's a big shit talker. Let's see if he can.
I was gonna
put
say, I
together,
I feel like he got shut the fuck up recently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially in those last two, and by Sean, kind of like I don't know, just like the shit talking between him and Sean was always.
I mean, I would have.
entertaining.
Yeah, I know that would have been nice to. This is never gonna happen now, but it'd be nice to see them fight.
I it's done. Like I want to see Cody Garbrandt win. I want to see him go on like a 3-fight win streak and get back into that.
Yeah.
Like, not like contention spot, but just kind of like
Right.
fight more often.
Yeah.
Have a little bit more success because like he was fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Oh,
Then
definitely.
he just went down the drain.
Exactly.
Yeah. So feature prelim there.
Trevin Jones is from Guam. Huh.
Yeah.
It's far away.
Like
I
said,
use
don't really
Guam
know
as a
him
term
too
for anything
much.
far away. So that's
Where are you from? Guam.
Guam. No, I'm just saying. No, like where you parked? Guam. You know what I mean? Far away.
Got it.
But that's cool. That'll be good. Interested to see how Cody Garbrandt looks coming back after 2 losses. Hopefully, for
Yeah.
his sake, he
So
can at
definitely
least-
some notable prelims too, which is nice to see.
Do you think on their contract it's like loser cut from the UFC, winner signs for another fight?
Yo, could you imagine?
Because I mean,
Yeah.
Just know the stakes going in, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I did not know that fight was on this card.
I was gonna say I really didn't either, and I feel like that's something that a lot of people are overlooking. So yeah, watch out for fucking Cody Garbrandt. Never miss the prelims, especially on a pay-per-view. I feel like the prelims, even on a fight night, you're gonna see a lot of action because those are the guys trying to make a name for themselves. Especially on a big pay-per-view, they're gonna stack the early prelims. We even got Julian Marquez. That's a big name. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Amanda
good fights.
Ribas. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of notable names on the prelims.
Exactly.
As
Don't
dumb
miss
as
the
it
prelims.
sounds, like you ever seen when
Shear.
we'll look through like prelim fights from like 7 years ago or something like that, 6 years ago, and you look at the names and you're like, wow, like and nobody was watching this probably, like 'cause,
Right.
like people don't tune in for those all the time.
Right.
That's what that's almost the biggest incentive for me to.
That's
watch
what I
the
never
prelims.
get either. Is like even at the events, why don't people
How is
show
it
up
not-
for the
yeah.
prelims?
You're
Like-
paying all that money for one fight.
Exactly.
Especially this one. I mean, I'd be there.
You'd be there.
First fight, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on.
100%.
100%.
100%.
I think that especially in Vegas, those like the fight nights, like there
Yeah.
should be like the whole time there should be like people in there from
100%.
waiting to get in.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? And like I think just real quick about like watching the prelims because these guys in 4 or 5 years might be these main card
Oh, yeah,
guys.
yeah.
We were looking at the card in Buffalo back in like
Wasn't like Ngannou on it or something?
it was like
crazy,
Jan
yeah.
Blachowicz,
Usman.
Kamaru Usman, like all
Oh,
these guys
wow.
were like fighting on the prelims or like maybe like
Yeah.
the first fight on the main card. They
Yeah.
were not the main event
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
crazy.
it's like you could really see some of these guys before they get their
Yeah.
their big shot. Yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah, it is nuts. So
And sometimes like the UFC is good too about not being biased in the sense of like if there's an early prelim knockout that's wild as fuck, that could be in contention for like knockout of the year.
Yeah,
You wanna miss the
exactly.
knockout
Right.
of the year? You don't know when it's coming.
right, exactly. Yeah, for sure. No, it's a great point.
yeah,
That's a great
definitely. All right, moving on to the main card.
Mm-hmm.
First fight of the main card, Bo Nickel, making his UFC
Yeah.
debut finally after an injury, fighting Jamie Pickett. So, yeah, I mean, there's no odds listed for this right now.
I feel like if I
feel like it's going to be like minus 900 Bo Nickel.
was gonna say prediction, yeah, like I was gonna
Yeah.
500. I was gonna say like
Yeah.
heavy favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's been this much hype around a fighter in a long, long time.
Or at least
so.
an American fighter ever that I
Yeah.
can think of. Recently.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely our guy as
we
far as
got
America
a
goes.
Khabib.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, and realistically, him coming in, how many? I mean, if he looks at, what are they going to give him 2 fights before he fights the top 5?
Probably there'd probably be this and one
I'm
more.
just
and
saying.
then
I
this.
think I think he's going to be fast
Well,
tracked.
do you
to the
remember
top.
Correct.
when we were watching the one thing, and I think he called out Kamzat, and I was like, he's gonna call out Kamzat. He's gonna call out Kamzat.
Oh, yeah.
And then he did, and I was like, that fight makes the most sense. It's like
Right.
bad guy superhero.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, right.
Gangster superhero.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know, you could really sell that fight, and Kamzat can sell a fight, and just tell Bo Nickel to be a
100%.
dickhead.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
so he's a middleweight. I'm just looking at the middleweight rankings.
Yeah.
I mean, if he ends this fight,
I think that's my favorite weight class.
Middleweight.
185. Yeah, that's you get some
pretty good one.
They
Yeah.
move quick. They throw bombs, and the jujitsu and the ground game is like
Yeah.
elite, like lighter weight fighters and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think middleweight
is.
is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
But I
you-
mean, looking at the division, if he takes care of Pickett in the first round and looks like dominant,
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of guys they could give him, but I mean, how great would them, just move him up and fight Paulo Costa or somebody.
Yeah, or like Gilbert Burns or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Gilbert's at 185, right?
No, he's
below that.
welterweight. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just realized
So,
right
I mean,
after I said that,
you
I was
know,
like,
I always get them mixed up.
well,
I
Gilbert
always
also
get 'em mixed up.
walks around and looks heavy.
Heavy.
He looks
Oh, yeah.
thick.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
I justify that one in my head with like.
I was gonna
he's a
say
thick boy.
I think about it the same way. I'll see someone, I'm like, oh yeah, he definitely fights at 185, and it's like, no, he fights at 155, and it's like, okay.
I mean, looking at the middleweight division, it seems, I mean, maybe they give him Dreykus if Dreykus wins. Who knows? But I mean, Dreykus is 10.
That's
so,
realistic.
That is realistic.
That's realistic. I think Jack Hermansson's realistic.
Right. He's coming off a win.
Jack Hermansson beat Curtis Blades, right?
I
think so. Yeah,
I mean, then you've got moving, taking another step up is so I think Strickland, Costa, Brunson's 5, but I don't know. Are they going to give him like Chris Curtis? I don't know. Probably not. I think they're going to give him somebody pretty good.
Do you ever worry about like Bo Nickel worrying too much about like the stand up, or do you think he's just gonna play the ground game? Like sometimes when you got somebody like Bo Nickel who's like so known for being like a wrestler and a grappler and everything, I always like think like don't try to prove you can strike. Like play the game you're good at.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Take him to the ground, strike him on the ground maybe.
Yeah,
don't try to
like,
get
do
knocked
too
out
much or whatever, right? And I was gonna say, like, what do you think a guy like Jamie Pickett, like, how do you like? He's in a cool spot because he's
sure.
like, not that he's unknown, but
if
people don't know a lot
he
about
doesn't
him.
really lose much because he gets to fight Bo Nickel.
You lost to Bo Nickel,
and if Bo Nickel is supposed to be this hype guy, then like even if he imagine even contending with Bo Nickel, taking the fight to 3 rounds.
right? Exactly.
Like that'd be like
100%.
Okay, Jamie Pickett's legit.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. It's like you beat Bo Nickel. That's your ticket. You know what I mean? You're a plus 400 underdog or whatever it is. Odds aren't out, but you beat Bo Nickel, and then you're automatically kind of in the limelight. So he's in a cool spot as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he should relish this opportunity really because who knows what's going to happen. But I mean, I think we do know what's going to happen actually.
Bo Nickel's
but
going to take him to the ground and submit him in the first round.
Yeah.
That'd be another. Like that's something I'm probably going to integrate onto the parlays. I'm probably going to put like Bo Nickel like first round submission or something. That's easy money. Probably going to get it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we'll see about that. But speaking of him on the feet, I mean he's looked good on the feet.
He can strike.
Yeah.
Mom called you, then me. Everything all good?
I don't know. She said all good.
Okay. Okay. We can cut that out.
I just texted her everything okay. So
okay.
I told her we're doing a podcast.
All right, cool. Just want to make sure. Cool. All
right, yeah. So, I didn't realize Gamrot was on this card also, which is a super interesting matchup for me. Gamrot versus Jalen Turner, who's looked amazing.
Yeah.
In his past couple fights, I think
he had an incredible submission,
5-fight win streak. So
yeah, this is a super interesting matchup. I think they're both fucking killers inside the octagon, and I don't know. Like you said, this is kind of something that we didn't know was on the card either. A lot of these cards, a lot of these fights, even on the main card, I feel like you're getting, not the shine that they deserve because we're looking at Jon Jones versus Cyril Gane.
Well, and that's the thing, and I feel like this is a big, looking at Turner's last few fights. I mean, he looked dominant, but this is definitely a big step up for Turner. I mean, Gamrot is legit.
Yeah, I was gonna say he literally fought a guy whose last name is Malarkey.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
It's a bunch of malarkey.
He fought the medic, and he fought Malarkey.
Yeah, and Brad Riddell had tough, whatever, but tough go of it lately. But yeah, I mean, this is a good step up. I mean, and you look at Gamrot lost his last fight, but
it was to Dariush.
Dariush,
I mean, that's not
notable.
It's no joke there. Yeah,
like I mean, in the sense of like Dariush is legit.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that fight was kind of back and forth too. So unanimous decision for Dariush in that one. But yeah, I mean Gamrot is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
and he's looked really good. So this is going to be a great matchup. It's just one of those fights that's going to be, I think, overlooked, and it's a sleeper on the card for sure.
Yeah, I mean Gamrot's last fight too. I remember we were talking about it a lot, and like I just didn't see anybody else talking about the Gamrot fight. Super excited for it for sure. I think, I don't know. He's just a little bit slept on.
I feel like he's often overlooked, for sure. But I was wrong again. I thought Gamrot was going to beat Dariush.
Well, the thing is, too, I remember that when we went to watch his fight, it was like another Polish fighter. Like,
Yeah.
there's not many. Like, let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I remember we watched a lot of his. I could be wrong, but I feel like he fought when we were in the Outer Banks last year.
I think did he fight on that Volk card? Because that was the Volk Korean Zombie card, I believe, right?
No. He fought in June.
I thought he did too. You said that, and I was like,
June
yeah.
and October. Yeah.
I remember maybe we just watched like videos or something, or
Yeah.
I don't. Long story short, we've been watching his stuff for a while, and we were definitely a little bit hyped up on the fact he was Polish too.
100%. Yeah, I was gonna say we don't have too many Polish fighters on the roster.
And like also like not to speak too early, but I see him beating Jalen Turner.
Yeah.
Not handily or anything, but I see him winning.
I think I know Jalen Turner's more of a ground game type of guy. I think Gamrot might be a little more well rounded. Yeah, 100%. What are the odds looking like for that? I don't know if it was up or not.
Let's see. Gamrot minus 215.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he's very, very, very skilled fighter. Obviously, very good all around, all aspects of the game.
Yeah, I feel like Jalen Turner though is one of those up and comers, and I wouldn't sleep on him in this fight
for sure.
I just think that he kind of has that kind of just you said submission skills, but I mean his last 2 fights ago he got a TKO, so
yeah, that's a good point.
2 submissions and TKO against Malarkey.
Yeah. Malarkey, so. Nice.
So yeah, we'll see. Interesting.
Yeah, cool.
Malarkey looks like JJ Watt.
He does. Oh yeah, he does.
Holy shit!
It's very sad.
a very sad JJ
He's got
Watt.
the eyebrows that go down.
Yeah. Wow. That's funny.
The heavy forehead.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, cool. I mean, so good matchup there. Next we got Jeff Neal against Shavkat Rakhmonov.
I think Rakhmonov.
Rakhmonov. Yeah. Rakhmonov. Yeah.
Rakhmonov.
All right.
Banger.
Definitely. We were just talking about Kazakhstan and all these fighters from that area of the world are just, I don't know, it's hard to count them out. I would say.
So I'm looking at Jeff Neal's last couple fights. He hasn't fought since August of 2022, where he took care of Vicente Luque.
Yeah.
So 2-1 over his last 3 fights. Lost to Neil Magny back in May of 2021.
Beat Ponzinibbio though. That's no joke.
Win against Ponzinibbio, yeah. I mean, that's a good. So yeah, I saw a little bit of video on Jeff Neal this week, and he looked good. Training camp looked good. He's excited. He's one of those guys that is excited to get back in there. So
I was gonna say, has he had a big layoff? I'm just not.
Last August.
Yeah. So a big layoff for sure.
So yeah, decent layoff.
Yeah.
And then Rakhmonov, win against Neil Magny, which Jeff Neal lost to. So interesting there. But Rakhmonov undefeated, 10-0.
Yeah.
Or no, 16-0. I think
16-0, all fighting.
Yeah, let's see. 16-0. I don't know how many of those in the UFC, but
yeah, man, this is a great matchup. I think whatever if Shavkat can really take care of Jeff Neal, then he's gonna get a really maybe even a title shot. Who knows? Or someone. He's got to be ranked top 10, right?
He's number 9.
Number 9. So yeah, I mean if he handles Jeff Neal for sure. I mean the way the UFC works kind of sucks. Like Rakhmonov's not a big talker. He's not going to promote a big fight like that. So maybe it's going to be tougher for him to break into the top 5. But if he handles Jeff Neal, there's no way he doesn't get a top 5
but
fight.
Huge favorite. Minus 490 is Rakhmonov. So,
right.
I mean, huge favorite there. So I think people are looking for him to take that next step for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, I mean, he beats Jeff Neal at number 7. He's getting a top 5
right
guy.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, exactly. We can kind of look at that a little bit too to see what might be next for him. But I mean, this division is so screwed up anyway. It's just
Gilbert Burns,
there's just so many guys
Muhammad,
in this division.
I
mean, who knows? Maybe they give him Wonder Boy.
Steven Thompson.
Oh my God, dude. He looks so good.
There's just so many great guys in this division. You just don't know what's going to happen.
So crazy. It's like, I forget Steven Thompson's in that division.
Right.
He doesn't look like he should be in that
I know.
division.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's insane.
You see him next to Connor?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that picture, yeah.
It's just crazy. Connor looked like he would squish him.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, Connor looked bigger than him for sure, yeah.
Huge right now. It's nuts.
But, yeah, so who
That's
knows?
crazy.
I mean, he he goes up to beats Jeff Neal, he's got to move up to at least take his spot, and then maybe give him Burns. Maybe I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say who else because I really think Bilal should not be fighting him. Bilal should be fighting somebody above him. And eventually for a title shot, I think.
Well, because that's a tough fight to give Bilal, too, because it's a guy who's coming up in the rankings who's also really fucking good and undefeated. You know what I mean? Like, that's such a tough fight to give Bilal when Bilal's already proved what he needed to prove. So, yeah, I wouldn't like to see Bilal fight him, per se, but maybe, like you said, Stephen Thompson. Gilbert Burns, I think, would be a good one.
I don't know. And it's getting to the point now with that division, I feel like if Colby's not going to fight, then just fucking move him down. Who's he fighting next? Is he going to take a fight? I mean, he's already been off a year.
Right.
So
right.
So what's he doing? What's the plan for that? Is he going to wait around to see what happens with the rematch with Usman and Edwards, and maybe if Edwards wins, he fights Edwards?
Do you remember Colby's
Probably what
face?
he's waiting for.
Right.
You remember Colby's face when Usman got knocked out?
Oh my God, yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
He was like watching
was
what
like,
he thought was
holy
impossible.
shit.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. I was gonna say he definitely not going to fight Usman again. But, yeah, that's his way back to a title shot is if Leon Edwards defends his title and they give it to Colby, and that's the only way he would get another title shot.
I mean, and to be honest, I don't he doesn't want to fight Chimaev, and I don't think he wants to fight Bilal either. I mean, I think he just doesn't want to fight Bilal because maybe he just doesn't think that's a worthy opponent or something, which is ridiculous. But, that's just how he thinks.
I think Bilal's going to run, he's going to run the division in a sense, I feel like, in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, training with Khabib kind of has, a fight style that's, boring, quote-unquote, but it's also safe.
Right.
He's not...
That's the thing.
He doesn't put himself in much danger and much risk,
and
he just wins fights.
It's it was boring up until maybe the last fight when he took care of Sean Brady on the feet.
That's the thing. I don't think he's boring to watch because obviously we get into watching fights more than certain people would be looking for. But like you're saying, obviously, last fight he gave it what you wanted. He standed and banged,
and like you were saying too, before the last fight, he went to Khabib's camp, worked with them. So he's definitely changing, evolving, improving like crazy. And I don't know.
I just think
so interesting.
Once you get above that 155-pound threshold in MMA, I feel like minimizing damage and risk is huge. Like you can't take as many shots as somebody in a Demetrius Johnson weight division where it's just not as substantial and you can afford to get teed off on 20 times maybe. Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, there's people who will be like, yeah, they'll still knock you out, but there's once you hit 155, there's that knockout power, brain rattling, and Bilal's not leaving fights with double black eyes, face busted up. I don't know. I just feel like he's going to be here to stay, and he's just going to keep winning. And if the guy keeps winning, and he's just going to be
undeniable. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he, like you said, he fights in a sustainable way. He knows.
Who do you and also I feel like there's people out there, but who do you see beating Bilal right now?
Kamaru.
I was gonna say there's two guys.
I think Usman and Chimaev give him a real.
I think he beats Leon.
Yeah, I think he. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with Leon's ground game per se.
I don't think we saw too much of it.
Yeah,
in the last fight.
Right. Yeah. But I could see him kind of ragdolling Leon on the ground a little bit or getting him down.
I'd love to see him fight Colby. I just think that's such an interesting matchup.
Because
I think he just takes Colby down. And I just feel like I don't know. I feel like he has a good shot of beating Colby for sure.
I would love to see him beat Colby.
I think he beats Colby.
Love to see it. Yeah, definitely.
But it's hard to bet against Colby because
I was going to say I'm biased against him, but I know he's undeniably a good fighter. He's technically sound.
Super impressive. You know, I mean, the guy's makes himself out to be a complete asshole. But those fights against Usman, I mean, those are legit fights. Go back and watch that.
Oh, for sure.
I love the conspiracies around Colby with him having that personality change to sell fights and it's all kind of a facade, people say.
Yeah. You definitely kind of become, even if it starts as a facade, you become it a little bit.
That persona,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep up that. It's hard to keep up being somebody else. I mean, that's what he's doing, really.
Right, yeah.
I think it's starting to show with where we're seeing less and less of him.
He's not.
And he's not posting these absurd videos. Yeah,
exactly.
I think also, correct me if I'm wrong, but after Jorge kind of beat the fuck out of him in a bar or whatever happened,
he
kind of shut him up a little bit. He broke his tooth or something, and kind of like was like, what's up now?
He was trying to like prove he had like brain damage or something like that, so he could sue
Jorge.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, those guys just legitimately hate each other though. Like there's guys that will play it up for the fight, but those guys just hate each other.
Well, they were also best friends. Remember that whole story?
Now it's like,
at American Top Team and everything like that.
I feel like that's like one of those scenarios though, where like Colby was probably just like, I just think Jorge and Colby have like a very different idea of like everything. Like Jorge probably grew up a lot different than Colby is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And I think Colby kind of just like crumpled up some shit, threw it behind him and said, fuck that. And he said, I'm going to try and go make some money. Doesn't matter who I lose, who I burn.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Well, Jorge's been fighting since he's early teens, you know what I mean? In the streets, you know.
Well, he used to bet $5-10 to go get Little Caesars pizzas, and he'd be like, okay, you're going to fight this person, and we'll take their money and we'll go get dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Definitely a different way of growing up.
But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Like, I mean, I think the whole thing about Colby too, and it was with Conor too. It's like they you can take it to a point, but I think both of them just take it over the edge. Like when you start talking about people's families and people's kids, and you're bringing that kind of shit into your shit talking, like talk about the fight. Yeah, you know, talk about how ugly the guy is, whatever. But you're not. When you start bringing real personal things into the fight, and Conor did that with Dustin, and I thought it was fucking ridiculous. I thought it was just, I thought Conor made a complete fool of himself.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
Devil's advocate, I fucking love it just because it sells fights, and it's like something you send to everybody. Everyone's talking about it, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe you, because I would never say it.
Yeah,
it is, but I feel like it's a thing
shock
where
value.
I feel like there's also no rules in shit talking.
I feel like he was pushing it though. I felt like he was like purposely, you know, you could tell he was just kind of like trying to stir the pot so bad, you know what I mean? That it was like, I'm going to talk about anything.
It's almost like they were going to fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like that's kind of the whole game.
Yeah.
I see both
like
sides
it or not, but
yeah.
that is what it is. So, but with both those guys, I feel like they're just playing up for it. I mean, and Conor went from, okay, he's super nice guy. All of a sudden, now he's
the one Dustin to the other.
Back to the asshole.
I think he realized he lost, and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Yeah, so he had to try something else, but
didn't work.
So whatever. So off on a tangent there, but we can move on. But yeah, I mean, if Rachmaninoff wins, I mean, who knows who he's going to fight? But yeah, we'd love to see him fight Burns. We'd love to see him fight top 5 guy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Whoever that might be. I mean, fuck, give him Chimaev. Let's see what happens there. You know.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
So we'll see. But moving on, co-main or whatever they call it these days.
Yeah, co-main, right?
Is it a co-main? I guess whatever there always is. But Shevchenko versus Grasso. So Shevchenko minus 610 favorite in this fight, which is huge.
So this was supposed to be the Talia Santos fight, the rematch, right?
Was it?
Oh, thought so.
Oh, I don't know.
I think Talia Santos either got hurt or something.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering why they didn't run that back, because that was a great fight.
Is she in the same division as Tatiana Suarez?
That I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
but we can check it out.
There's only like 3 or 4.
This is flyweight.
I think there's only 3.
3? Yeah. Yeah, 3.
Flyweight Shevchenko.
Tatiana Suarez.
I don't know where she sits because she took a 3-year hiatus.
Yeah,
she might not even be.
So she's in strawweight right here.
Oh, okay.
13.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, so strawweight.
Yeah, she's just. I know she's undefeated in the UFC and has like after that last fight that was like pretty dominant.
Yeah,
people were talking about like she's got to sign the contract with. It wasn't Valentina, but
Zhang Weili.
Probably. Yeah. I just don't. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I just remember there after that everyone was saying like she's got a real shot at climbing.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean
she's cool too. She's married to Patchy Mix, which
Yes, exactly. Cool. I forgot about that.
I mean, realistically, if Shevchenko runs through Grasso, which I think she's going to do, the matchup I want to see is Blanchfield. I want to see Blanchfield fight Shevchenko.
Yeah,
I mean, and I think she deserves it after running through Andrade. Like,
yeah,
you know, I mean, exactly. Obviously that was short notice fight for Andrade and whatever. You can make excuses, but I mean, you run through somebody of that caliber, and look that good on the feet. Also, that was the surprising part.
Definitely,
surprising part of that fight was how well she, stood there and exchanged and wasn't afraid of Andrade's power.
Right, exactly.
And it was impressive. I mean, maybe you give it to her, but maybe they give the Santos the rematch. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think. Well, the good thing now is that Shevchenko has 2 fights. You know what I mean? That before kind of Blanchfield's coming up and before the Talia Santos fight, this was kind of a stalemate. You know what I mean? She was just ripping everybody,
dominating everybody. Yeah.
So now at least we have 2. I think I don't know. Talia Santos maybe won that fight when they fought. So
I
definitely
thought
have
so
to see
too.
that.
I thought
to
so
see
too,
that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was surprised. I thought Shevchenko lost, but I mean, I'm not surprised they gave it to her because that's just whatever. Yeah. But I think close fights go to the champions. But there's a definite chance that she lost. But we'll see. I mean, it's interesting to see what she does coming back off that close fight. Yeah, I think I saw a little bit of her camp on the embedded series or whatever, and she looks.
Did you watch the Jon Jones ones yet?
I watched. Well, I saw the first 2. I think there was 2 out.
There's 2 out right now. Yeah. I think they dropped the one yesterday. I haven't seen either of them yet, but I'm waiting.
Oh, they're not.
Stack them up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll wait till are we going to move on to Jon Jones? Or,
sure, yeah. I was going to say, I don't have anything else for that fight, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, because I have a question. I didn't see the embedded. Was he in a pool? Was he training in a pool?
Swimming, yeah.
I saw Chael Sonnen tweeted, I saw it this morning, and he was saying that anytime a fighter is training in a pool, they're hurt. Yeah. It's low impact on anything. Like, I don't know. Chael Sonnen was absolutely convinced that Jon Jones was in recovery from some injury, and that's why he was in a pool.
I mean, okay, back it up a little bit.
Just wanted to bring it up. I know.
Chael Sonnen and Jon Jones, they're just going to be shit-talking each other all the time. Yeah. But from what I don't know anything about that, but from what I gathered watching the episode, he's been swimming for 3 years.
Gotcha.
That's part of his training. Like they showed, they went down to deep end, they dropped these bricks down there. He went down to the bottom, pulled them up. Yeah. And it was like, when I first started this swim training, I couldn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Maybe. No. I'm not debating what Chael says. Probably it's
I saw it.
That part is probably true, but this I think has been a long-term part of his training. Yeah.
I saw that tweet like last night when I realized that the 2 embeddeds were out for Jon Jones. I didn't even know they were out till last night. Yeah. But I was thinking about it and I was like, well, shouldn't all fighters then just want to train in the pool a little bit more? If it's low impact and easy on your body, especially Jon Jones getting up there in age, went up a division. His joints are taking more stress being that he's physically fighting at a heavier weight now. Right. Yeah. So wouldn't you think like, man, if I could also use all my muscles at the same time being in the pool.
Yeah, exactly.
May as well.
Exactly.
Well, and that's what I found interesting. So we haven't seen too much, or I haven't seen a lot of in-depth coverage of even what Jon Jones looks like at heavyweight until this embedded thing. And it was interesting to hear him talk about, I think it was in the first episode, him talk about the 3-year journey. He said it was like, I thought it was going to be easy to move up to heavyweight, but it's like it's taken, we've done the right steps and we've taken the right steps. And that's why it's been such a long process. It's not just eat a bunch of food and now you're a heavyweight. Yeah. It's like, put on that weight, put on that
dial it in,
perfect, proportion of muscle, and he looks huge.
Yeah. I think it's crazy because people were talking about like, oh, you're not like Jon Jones won't be able to take Cyril Gane to the ground, and then like I saw like a highlight reel of like 3 different dudes taking Cyril Gane to the ground, and I was like, there's gonna be no issue there. I
saw Cyril Gane getting taken down in his camp. There was like a little clip, and it was like a small guy too. I was like, wait, did they really want to include that clip in that?
I don't know. I think John's just like. I don't know. Like I remember watching this one video on him one time, and it was kind of like when he was in the UFC, he kept telling himself like just because he wasn't like DC, who was like an Olympic level wrestler or like a national champion and like this and this, he's like it's because he had like different things in his life that had happened that led him to like the path he took and whatnot. And there was like a convincing period where he had to be like, I would have been national champ, I would have been a D1 All-American, I would have been this and that, and it's like. That like he is legitimately like he would have.
Yeah,
like,
he's
the best.
Right.
Like Cyril Gane, I don't think I don't know. I see people on Twitter like playing devil's advocate and saying, man, he's got a chance, and he does because it's a fight. You can't count him out. He could sleep him in the first 5 seconds.
Right.
You don't know.
Anything can happen.
But in my opinion, I would like to think Jon's going to win in the second round.
So how do you guys think? I mean, if you guys think Jones is going to win, how do you think it's going to end?
Second round TKO.
You think it's going to be a knockout?
Yeah, I think it's, well, I mean, can I ask a very, very, very stupid question? Like the dumbest question I've probably ever asked. Like, we might have to cut this out.
We can cut it out.
Yeah, okay. Wait, is elbows on the ground considered TKO?
So
because it would be like stop, is like
a stoppage.
TKO,
Yeah, that's
okay.
Like if they're like grounded.
I just want to make sure that
TKO,
because for a small period of time I thought TKO meant lights out, like total knockout, like lights are out, like ref jumped in and stopped it
so
because
KO,
that would be like
KO is like lights out.
So it's the inverse.
It's the inverse. Right?
So that's dumb.
TKO is technical knockout.
Technical
Technically knocked him out.
Video games are total knockout. Lights are off.
Lights are out.
It's like fucking NFL blitz ass.
That's fantastic.
All right, well, back to what I was saying. I think I'm gonna say TKO second round.
Yeah.
So ground and pound.
Ground and pound, slicing elbows.
I mean, I kind of feel the same way, but what do you?
I was gonna say. I mean, Gon moves so well, right? I think the kind of game plan for Jon Jones going in my opinion, I don't fight, but I think it would probably try to be to get him to the ground, right, and do some damage on the ground. Gon moves really well, like I said, especially for heavyweight. Jones is, by nature a light heavyweight, so he's used to seeing that kind of movement. But it's gonna be hard to hit him, honestly. It's hard to hit Gon. I think you got to get him to the ground, especially if you're Jon Jones. You're huge. Get on top of him, throw those slicing elbows, and get him out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like it's gonna be, obviously they all have to start on the feet, but I think it's gonna be some exchanges and then. But you're right. Gon moves so well that's what he wants to do. He wants to move and throw kicks. He wants to move and throw, those slipping punches and things like that. And I think Jones is just gonna like that highlight of Jones throwing that guy down in training camp.
That shit was
tripping
insane.
him and one arming the guy down.
That was
and
stupid.
I mean, I can see that happening to Gon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to see. Like, I just want to see like Jon just a couple leg kicks to Gon's lead leg. Couple jabs, and then just do like one of those monstrous, loud thunder bang takedowns where he just drops every pound of Gon onto the mat, but like with like to compare it to a K4 event. Remember Skyler's takedown? How he drove right through him? I want to see a driving takedown where he just gets him up and just takes him down onto the ground and uses the momentum to stay north-south.
I feel like would be awesome. I also feel like, arms clenched behind him.
Oh, suplex?
Yeah.
Suplex style.
I feel like Gon is so big. It's like that would be like if he could. It might be like more of like that side suplex, but the noise that would make.
That's what I'm saying. Like
would
a big
be like
slam.
Oh my god,
canvas, dude.
I just also like if there's one thing like outside of like either of them getting the money, like I just want this to be fight of the night, just because like it's such a long time coming. How many times on the pod were we talking about Jon Jones coming back, and it was and we're like, fuck that. We're not talking about it until it happens, and now it's like we're about a week out. Like this is
a week out.
And I also just like I've never had a thought in my head about being scared for a fight to get canceled. And this is the first time I'm like, please, just everybody make way, everybody show up, everybody be healthy, and everybody be okay.
So I did see that there's a backup fighter.
Yeah, and you know who it is?
Did he say who it was?
No.
Okay.
Speculation is Sergey Spivak.
He said, Spivak, yeah, probably.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, that's probably who it would be, but yeah. There is a backup fighter just in case.
Tyvasa and somebody else. Tyvasa and Curtis Blades maybe are both showing up and are are fit to fight apparently.
Wow.
So like,
could you imagine Ngannou shows up ringside
and he's like, "Let me go catch weight.
I can fill in.
Yeah.
I can fill in."
You should have signed that contract.
I know. I think. Sorry, I brought up Ngannou, but I think that we'll see that fight eventually. I think Ngannou's gonna go make his money and then come back.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Ain't that wild? Imagine having to be Dana White and say, yeah, leave the UFC, go make your money and come back. Like, what, you can't make it here?
Yeah.
You got to leave to go make your money and come back and have fun? This is the fun one?
Yeah, right.
This is the endorsement one?
This is the...
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of...
Off topic. of what we're talking about.
Right.
But I'm just saying.
Kind of reminds me of like a Live PGA situation where they're leaving for the money or they're staying for the legacy. You want the UFC belts. You don't want the, I don't know, maybe you really care about the World Boxing Championship or whatever. But I feel like if you're in MMA, you care about the UFC belt more than a belt like a.
My only thing would be for Ngannou specific. This is only Ngannou specifically. MMA is so much newer of a sport, and Ngannou, like I don't know for sure, but I would assume that like being as boxing is his predominant like discipline.
Yeah,
he's probably from like a boxing family, like his uncle's boxed, his dad boxed, like training. You know what I mean? And like the boxing being like a long, like hundreds of years, the sport's been around and everything. He probably grew up wanting to be like a boxing champion, if anything. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like there's probably a certain aspect to his legacy where he's like, okay, the UFC built my name. Now I got to go get that world title. Yeah. And then if he really enjoys MMA more, he'll probably do whichever one he likes more, which I think MMA is better for your head. So
yeah, exactly. Well, it's not just.
But that's like a rant about it, I would say. If my logic on him leaving for boxing is he's probably trying to fulfill some family legacy, like I need to be the world boxing title holder.
I think he's just trying to make more money.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Because he gets one fight against somebody in boxing, he's going to make a shit ton of money. So.
Right. Yeah.
But the thing is then, too, is he not a big enough name to draw the money in the UFC? Or is he? Because
they offered him the biggest contract they've ever offered anybody, I heard. That was the thing.
So, and then Jon Jones just took his contract, and now he's the highest paid heavyweight of all time.
Right.
So that also brings the speculation of did he not want to fight Jon Jones? Because he said after he vacated the title, now he is undisputed. We'll never have to. Yeah. Does that play into it as well?
That's the thing. Maybe you didn't want to. I don't know.
Because I'm sure that they offered him enough money where the boxing was probably like still good, but could have been. I don't, because like you got to figure too, like how many boxing fans are like, oh man, Ngannou's coming to box.
Yeah,
like they got their guys that they're focused on.
Like for me, I have zero interest in watching him box.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't even think I want to watch it. I don't know. That's just how I feel. I'm a bigger UFC MMA fan.
Right.
And if he goes and boxes like Jake, I'm not saying Jake Paul, but what if it's Jake Paul? Like, am I going to watch that? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I think he's probably going to box like Tyson Fury or somebody.
I was going to say if he can get a big money fight like that, just do it, get it over with, come back to UFC, come back. Yeah. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I would probably watch that if it was Tyson Fury, but I don't know.
I don't think there's any way Ngannou fights a YouTuber or not top world class boxing champion.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, he's definitely. I think he would fight like a top flight boxer.
Yeah,
for sure.
There's no way.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But if you guys think Jon Jones is going to run through Gane, then what's next for Jon Jones after that? I mean, we're looking at Stipe maybe. You know, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Number 2.
I mean, we got Sergey Spivak. Right.
I feel like it's got to be Stipe.
Yeah, Pavlovich.
I meant to say Pavlovich because he had a.
I mean, I don't know. He can fight all these guys really, but I feel like, you know, matchup wise, who is he realistically going to defend against? Are they going to give Stipe another shot at the title? Probably.
That's also a great fight.
You know, Curtis Blades is right there too, which, you know, that I mean, like we said with Makhachev, it's like, okay, you're champion now. You're gonna fight. Right. I mean, this is a new division for him.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. It's a totally
who's he gonna fight? Yeah. But who I'm looking at moving up quickly is Jelton Almeida.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he's definitely gonna fight him eventually.
Right.
Because Almeida's running through the division.
Yeah.
You know, and he's going to keep moving up. I mean, I can see them giving Almeida a top 10 next.
How many fights did John sign for?
6, I think.
Was it 6 or 8?
I don't know.
It's at
least 6.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Dude,
that is a lot of fights, though.
It is a lot.
He's either going to fight.
That's 3 years of fights.
Yeah, that's either 3 years of fights or he could stretch it out to 4.5.
Yeah, right.
It's probably going to be closer to that 5 years.
Probably be 2 a year. I mean, if he's fighting now, maybe we see him at the end of the year, you know, also.
Yeah.
But it all depends, you know. It all depends how the fight is, too. If he just runs through and ends it in the first round and takes no damage, then
I was going to say
more likely to come back quicker.
It'd be crazy to see him be a super active champion.
That's what I'm wondering. Is like I could also just be super wrong. I just don't see that.
Yeah, right.
I think he's got to be smart. Like once you hit over that certain age in this sport, you got to be very cautious of when you do and don't expel energy in fights.
I mean, yeah, we'll just. I'm just so
But
excited.
then that
to
also
see-
holds up the division having an old and I'm Jon Jones isn't an old guy, but he is compared to a lot of these guys.
35,
Like,
so
yeah,
not
like
young,
he's
right.
Does he have 5 years of fighting left if he has 6 to 7 fights?
Yeah.
Like, cause he'll fight once, twice a year, yeah. But like, what happens if one of those fights he gets fucked up and he has like a bad ankle injury, bad knee, and he needs to take extra time off before he can even train? Then he's cutting. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. No, you're 100%
and
right.
then does he even have like that many years of fighting? Like, I don't think we're gonna get all the fights that's on his contract. Like, there's probably no way.
Yeah. It's definitely it's a tough call. Like you said, he's getting older. I'm just super excited to see where, like you said, if he goes out there and mops Gone, it's like, holy fuck, could he run through this whole division in the next 2 years? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like you said, it's so unlikely though. It's because he's getting older. He's coming back. New weight division. It's a new game for him.
Do you think if he's signed to 6 fights, he thought, like, theoretically in his head, he's like, I need 5 wins at heavyweight or something along those lines?
Yeah.
And then I can be done.
Well, and it was interesting to hear him talk on the Embedded series about why he came back. He's like, I didn't have to come back. He's like, he's like, I'm a fighter, and this is, it's the next challenge for me. I want to be heavyweight champion,
right.
And he wants to leave that legacy, and obviously, Ngannou, on the other hand, doesn't care about his legacy, in my opinion. So whatever.
Man.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I think if he beats Gane, he's definitely got 1 to 2 good opponents coming up, and then beyond that, I don't know. I just can't see him fighting Tuivasa or Aspinall until they get better victories under their belt.
Yeah.
Because they both lost. Tuivasa lost his last 2 fights, I think.
Yeah. He's I feel like just for the UFC as a whole, if I had to give anybody a pass on their losses, it's Tuivasa. Just because he's had to fight some real deal motherfuckers, and he should have beat Derek Lewis, but just that was tough.
Yeah, and then Pavlovich, just
is probably the backup for Jon Jones. So that's speaking. So he's like
right.
If there's anybody who I give a pass, it's him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he always brings the game, that's for sure.
Well, the one thing I love about Tuivasa, and I'll say it till the day I die, is he's the only fighter that I've seen live where he's getting hit by 12 punches, and instead of evading or just
covering up,
he just throws back.
Yeah,
he throws back and throws back.
It's probably because he's truly the only fighter I can think of that's just other than Justin Gaethje, but that's just really not afraid to get knocked the fuck out. If there's if you have to go in and throw, he's gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you're gonna stand there and throw back and forth in the pocket, you're right. I mean, he's reminiscent of Gaethje because Gaethje will just stand there and just, if you're gonna knock me out, but I'm gonna knock you out.
That's the thing. I think they kind of realize okay, I'm either gonna stand here and the fight's gonna get stopped because I'm not defending and I'm not doing anything, or I can turn the tide and all I have to do is land one good punch and then one hand's gone.
Right, exactly.
Second hand's gone. Now I'm controlling it and I can get off the fence, but. It's look at what happened with him and Derek Lewis. You get that it's a coin flip, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't always work in your favor.
But a lot of it's matchups too, right? I mean, if you're comparing Tuivasa and Gaethje's fighting style, it's they're stand up on the feet guys. It's we saw with Gaethje, if he fights a legit wrestler or a legit jiu-jitsu guy, they take him down. He doesn't have much of a shot,
right?
We saw with Khabib, we saw with Oliveira.
Yeah,
I mean, he stood and threw with Oliveira, but. Yeah, knocked him down, but Oliveira got down, took him down, submitted him right away.
Yeah, it was a different level on the ground.
So and Khabib could have finished it even earlier, but didn't want to break his arm.
Right. I mean, Gaethje's one of my favorite fighters, but he's lacking in that department.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's where fighting's cool because you get. Do you skill, or are you looking for entertainment value, or are you looking for just and Gaethje kind of falls in that all right, well, I'm gonna probably see a knockout and the entertainment value's there, but his he's a Madden character with 90 or a UFC character with 99 striking, 25 grappling.
Yeah.
That's why I feel matchups are so important. That's why the Chandler fight was so great because it's they're kind of remnant, they're kind of mirror images of each other.
Right.
They're both wrestlers, but they don't really. It's not like they're, displaying that very often. But I mean, Chandler held Poirier down for the whole round, so that was awesome. But I mean, you knew once you get these certain matchups, like Wonder Boy against Kevin Holland. You know what I mean? It's like those matchups are like, that's not going to the ground. And it's right up Wonder Boy's
look what happened,
alley.
2 broken hands.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and that's kind of Wonder Boy's kind of the same way. It's like he's fought guys that were better on the ground, like Bilal Muhammad, and got dominated and couldn't get up. You know what I mean? So
I feel like that's we've talked about it before so many times, but like that's just like why a lot of people don't like Bilal, but that's why I love Bilal.
Yeah,
like I like that. Like I like like dominant, like safe fighting in a sense. I don't want to call it safe fighting because that sounds boring, but like
no, I know
risk-free fighting. Like I want to see longevity. I want to watch like 10 more fights, and I want to watch you win 10 more fights.
Well,
exactly.
I feel the same way about Bilal, and it's like I heard him talking about the Wonder Boy fight, I think, on Rogan's podcast, and he was saying that, people thought it was boring, but that was a game plan. It's like, you're not going to he's like, I'm not going to stand up with the best karate.
Right.
It's like, I'm not going to stand up with Wonder Boy. Like, that's just not happening. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I think he came out and proved a point, though, against Brady that,
he can.
I think that he could have taken the same game plan against Brady, but he stood there and threw with them and wanted. I think he wanted to prove that.
And Brady was undefeated. Sean Brady was.
I was going to say, Sean Brady's no joke. He was,
and I think he wanted to prove that, like, this is what I've been working on. Like, these guys have worked on certain aspects of the game, and they want to show it off.
That's kind of what I was alluding to with like the Jon Jones type thing or the Bo Nickel thing, where it's like, is he like looked at? Does he perceive himself that he's looked at as a one-dimensional fighter, and he's like kind of got to prove this like main card first fight in the UFC? I want to get it. Like he probably, if you were to ask him, I can almost promise you he'd say like his ideal way to win this fight is by knockout.
So
but like he knows he's probably not gonna do it. But it's like that's the biggest way to be like, this guy's legit.
And I think they all have that in the back of their head, right? If you come in as a wrestler, like Sabatello, right?
Yeah.
He's a wrestler. But those guys are great at wrestling, but they're constantly working. I feel like they're probably putting a lot more time in camp into their stand-up because, and I think Nickel is too, because he knows he's not, if he comes up against a wrestler, equal wrestler, he's got to have a different game plan of standing and throwing.
Think of Sean O'Malley. He's the inverse of that, where Sean's like, I grew up striking and I grew up sparring with all my buddies and that, where it's like it's second nature now. I don't need to practice it as much or as frequently, so we kind of focus more on the jiu-jitsu and the controlling of the fight and endurance and breathing and stuff.
Well, and that's the exact same thing with him, except it's opposite, right? I mean, he's been practicing his wrestling, practicing the jiu-jitsu, and he wants to show it off. You know what I mean? He wants to see that. You want to see that. And you saw a little bit of it against Jan, but it was, I've heard him say multiple times, like, I can't wait to show off what I actually been working on.
Exactly.
So, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Quick side note, just got a little ESPN notification on Darren Till. Read it very quickly. He basically said that he asked Dana White and Hunter Campbell to release him from the roster, which they did. They granted him that release out of his contract, and he said he's got to figure some shit out in end quote, and that he'll be back. So he's coming back. He just wanted. He's got a whatever. It did say too. He lost 5 of his last 6 fights. I didn't realize. Thought it was like 3 of the last 4 or something.
Yeah.
But so I guess he asked to be released, and they released him. So hopefully he'll be back. He's figure out whatever he has to, and I just wanted to throw that in there at the end. That's what I was reading on my phone.
Darren has something that a lot of fighters don't really get right now, which is he has the option to like kind of go into that coaching and go into that cornering aspect. And why don't you just corner your boy Khamzat and just focus on that? Yeah. You don't have to leave the sport because he does. I don't see him having a career in broadcasting or announcing, commentating.
Yeah,
it's hard to understand.
Yeah, he's not that guy.
Yeah.
I think that's he could be like a Uriah Faber type thing too, where what do you think's going to happen when Khamzat holds the title and retains it, and people see you in his corner? People are going to just inadvertently come up and be like, "Hey, can we have you corner me?" Look at Uriah Faber, all over the place.
Yeah. Could build a gym or something like that. That'd be sweet.
That's what I see. His future looking like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so who knows? I don't know. I kind of hope to see him back in the ring. But
I think he's young enough where he could take a year or 2 off and come back and fight. But I think he's got to figure out. I have no clue what it is, but he's probably got to figure out that whole weight division type thing. Because like Dreykus was right. He's strong and he's good, but he's just a little too big for this one, a little too small for this one.
Right.
And he's got to find that happy median. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Agree. So, all right, good. Anything else?
Cool.
Looking forward to Saturday.
Jon Jones, the GOAT is back.
Yeah, we'll see.
Holy fuck, can't believe it. So that's all I got. Yeah.
Interesting. So
yeah, I feel like I covered everything I wanted to. I was gonna say, would you guys want to do a tough preview before we go back to anything?
Yeah, we can talk about that a little bit.
Like a separate pod type thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, the only thing being like, I honestly don't even know how tough is really like how it works. I haven't watched one before.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, when the last tough season was Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena, which I didn't.
I watched that fight, but I didn't watch the season.
Yeah. I didn't.
Probably watched the last 2 fights from Tough, but not the season. Which isn't good.
Yeah.
Well, we can do a little preview of that.
Yeah.
Different podcast. So
definitely.
But do they have the rosters for those posted yet? Because I know there's videos now surfaced of all the guys Connor's training with, which was the only roster that was the question because he dropped which there's a lot we could talk about with that too. Because what about like all the people that got sent home?
He dropped 3 guys or whatever and brought 3 of his own guys in.
He dropped someone.
I didn't even know it was 3. I was told it was the whole team, so that makes it a lot better. Instead, it was only 3 fucking guys.
That was the rumor was 3, and then they asked Dana White about it, and of course he takes the high road on it. He's like, well, who fucking cares about that? Like, that was his answer.
Who fucking cares? There's a slap fight going on this weekend.
Guys, don't you
fucking cares about that? We're promoting slap fight.
You see the slap fight promotion video about the only reason I say is because he posted it yesterday, and it was Slap Jesus versus KO Chris, and now he's probably gonna, if Dana ever saw this, he'd probably be like, whoa, well, it worked, you knew their names. And it's like, I only knew their names because the top comment was, these names are fucking ridiculous. And the thing is that the KO Chris guy got dropped on his head in the video. And in the end he goes, yeah, you little, like to the guy who dropped, he goes, yeah, you little bitch. And the guy goes, I just dropped you on your head. And he goes, no, you didn't. And he goes, there's like 5 cameras in here. And I was like, that's hilarious. You can't lie like that. There's cameras all over the place.
No, you didn't.
He's like, I was like, what?
That show just gets stupider and stupider as it goes on.
Exactly.
I feel like they have the ability though to start something new with like a whole new market where there isn't a single TV show that has that budget that's like a Snapchat show. Like, you know how you're going through like Snapchat and like the back there's like the back of Snapchat. When you scroll all the way to the right, you got those like stories that are highlight stories. What if Slap Fight just had like a very high revenue to like in money that you could spend to like produce these videos, and you just really had the fighters come in and they fought, and then just like a much more minor scale of this like Ultimate Fighter style household thing.
Right.
Because if the whole thing is that they do well on short form content, and I don't think a ton of people are watching these episodes and stuff, they could be like the first like sport that's legitimately like short form content. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's like, and if it doesn't work, at least you really tried a different angle that no one else has tried.
Well, I think they're gonna have to figure out a different angle because like the novelty of it is probably already worn off.
I think it should be a halftime show at the UFC at PPVs. I think if you or it should be early prelims. Like it should be like the slaps, early prelims. And like, I don't know, man. I would actually watch it every week.
Slaps, get you warmed up.
I was gonna say, I don't know. That would be pretty cool.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would watch it every single time if it was just before the early prelims, because we watch the early prelims, and I'm not opposed from turning it on 45 minutes earlier.
Show like when you're at a hockey game, you get the little kids playing hockey.
It's like a halftime show, but if you're at home, you don't actually hear or see it. You just like kind of see it in the background. You have to be there to watch.
Yeah,
it's not a broadcast.
Yeah, no, it's just behind like the analysts. Yeah,
who knows?
I don't know.
That's funny.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about.
Different
podcasts in the future, or whatever. But so whatever. 285 preview. Saturday, done.
Fuck yeah,
cool. I'm out.
Oh, you're out. All right, let's go.
I'm tapping out.
All right, super excited. Can't wait. See you next time.
Sweet.